God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the I Don't Belong Here show, and I am your host, Samantha Benigno. I am a behavioral scientist, a career psychotherapist, a sixth year PhD candidate in clinical psychology, and a master's level psychologist. And I am currently breaking down the Karen Read murder case. Now, as many of you know, I grew up in Western Massachusetts in Berkshire County. And the more that I familiarize myself with this case, the more that I delve into the nuances, the personalities, the character of all of these players. One of the things that Hank is doing that Adam Lally didn't do as well, at least I don't remember him doing as well, he's getting them to tell a story about who they are. He wants us to trust these people. So he's giving us some of their background, or he's having them give some of their background in a way that Adam Lally just didn't really do. And I think that's helpful. And what it's doing is painting this picture of a small town group of people who are like local townies, people who have never left town, who are engaging in like high school side taking, like want to be one of the cool kids and want to be invited to the party. And so they're like trying to butter up to some of these people. Like, for example, you have this firefighter. I don't even know his name at this point. I don't even remember his name. He's the one that rode with Karen to the hospital after she was put on a psych hold. You know, this guy just seemed like he was had like a crush on Kerry Roberts and was trying to get in her good graces. And the thing that I'm very aware of that probably most people aren't is not only is memory faulty, in other words, you know, you cannot trust these people's memories of what happened on that night. Not only because it's been 3 years, but because in that time they have had so much exposure to this case. They have so many undeniable feelings about what's going on in this case. They're invested personally. They probably hate Karen Read. They probably hate the way that they were cross-examined during the last trial. They probably resent the fact that they're being dragged through the mud, or that their friends are being made to look stupid, or think about all of the attention, the way that the Canton Police Department has been made to look incompetent in all of this. Even having an independent audit, the townspeople, a lot of them have turned against the police department. You think that this firefighter doesn't have feelings about that? So not only does he seem like he's got a little crush on Kerry Roberts based on his testimony, he seems like, you know, he has a lot of feelings. And it's funny because when he testified to the grand jury, he seemed like an objective witness. But now, 3 years later, it's very clear that he's making every effort wherever he can to throw Karen under the bus, to make her seem like she's a difficult patient, like she's trying not to deliberately give her blood alcohol, not trying to avoid doing a urine because she doesn't want them to see how drunk she is. It's just, they're sort of painting her in this light. And not only that, which was bad enough, he's trying to sort of skew how upset she was. That one was the one that was really almost malicious in my mind. He was trying to minimize that she was hysterical. I mean, you know, think about it. He's got her because her parents are worried about suicide. She was an utter disaster, had blood on her from her boyfriend, who she just found lying in the snow. And this guy is clearly trying to minimize her mood, trying to say, oh, she wasn't that upset. It's just, these people are a joke. And the more that I learn about them, they're these like high school, small town people. It elicits the same feeling in me that I had when I was coming into the high school, my local high school in a town similar to Canton or similar to Dedham, where the big bad junior senior rednecks didn't like me. I was an outsider. Came from the city. They didn't like me coming up because I was another female competition, and tried to bully me as I came into the high school. It feels like that. It's the same kind of people engaging in the same kind of behavior with Karen Read. It's disgusting. It's disgraceful. It is childish. And why am I doing this video today? Because I want to show you the Kerry Roberts interview that she gave on Good Morning America. It is also disgraceful. It is also disgusting. And, you know, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but poor Brendan Kane, I'm starting to feel really bad for this man. He clearly is going through a lot. He's clearly having some kind of a personal crisis. And I think we're just watching it. Like, you know, I don't want to be judgmental. I really don't. I think it'll speak for itself when you see it. So if you haven't seen this, this is fun. You're gonna enjoy this. Here it is. This is the interview that Kerry Roberts gave on Good Morning America.
Karen Reed murder retrial, who took the stand yesterday during the first day of testimony. She was with Reed when they found the body of her Boston police officer boyfriend. She spoke with our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, George. Kerry Roberts is arguably the most important witness in this trial, but she agreed to speak with us because she wants to refocus attention on the actual victim in this case. That's her childhood friend, John O'Keefe, the Boston cop who adopted his toddler-age niece and nephew when his sister and brother-in-law tragically died. A prankster who would help you at the drop of a hat.
Free Karen Reed! Free Karen Reed!
Arriving in court for the first day of her second murder trial, Karen Reed addressing her supporters.
I'm always confident in my team.
Reed's defense team maintains she's innocent, the victim of a law enforcement cover-up. But prosecutors allege Reed, drunk and angry, knowingly slammed her SUV into her boyfriend, police officer John O'Keefe, outside a get-together at another cop's home, leaving him to die in a blizzard in January of 2022. And this morning, one of the trial's key witnesses, Kerry Roberts, John O'Keefe's lifelong friend, speaking to the media for the first time, exclusively to GMA.
You're obviously one of the key witnesses for the entire case. Why are you speaking out now on the eve of Karen's second trial?
I think people have forgotten John in general. He is the victim.
Nobody
lost his
forgot
life.
John.
He's not coming back.
Not us.
Roberts took the stand yesterday and will continue testifying today. She is a critical witness for the prosecution because she was the first person Karen Reed called at 5 a.m. the morning of the blizzard trying to find John.
I don't know if
Can you
she's
tell
a
me
key
what
witness, but
she said?
if she is, they're in
What
trouble.
Karen told Kerry that morning when she called.
I believe she said, was that the first time she called John's dead?
Yes.
Kerry
Not looking
relayed
so
to
good
Brendan
there,
Kane,
Brendan.
a longtime friend of John's, the contents of her call that morning with Karen Reed.
When Karen called Kerry,
Looking a little bloated.
she was histrionic, screaming, John's dead, John's dead. I think you get hit by a plow. Kerry, John's dead. Is that right?
The first
It
phone
sounds
call
like
was
a murderer
John's dead,
name.
and she hung up.
So that early morning, Kerry picked up
Definitely
Karen and
behavior of a
another
murderer.
O'Keefe friend, Jennifer McCabe.
I knew of her. I had met her once, and that was it.
They drive to the house where Karen
Right.
dropped
They're not
John
friends
off.
at all.
It's dark in a blinding blizzard.
It was so snowy, you couldn't see. And as we were driving, Karen would lean in between us, and she was frantic. I mean, she knew John was missing, so she was frantic about it, as I would be.
Oh, wait.
And then we turned to pull down
Wait a
Fairview,
minute,
and
Wait a
she
minute. Can we go back to that? Think about what she's saying there, okay? So if Karen Reed is a vicious murderer who intentionally killed John, how does it make sense to Kerry that in that moment, John was missing and Karen was histrionic? Because according to Kerry, John wasn't missing to Karen. Karen knew exactly where he was. So how does that explain the histrionic behavior the way that Kerry just so flippantly said that it would? I mean, do you see this? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's very clear to me that Kerry Roberts, if she believes that Karen did this, she knows it was an accident, right? Like, she is basically telling us she believes, yes, Karen did this, but Karen was drunk, doesn't remember it, and it was an accident. That's what she's telling us right now. Does she realize that she's saying that? I mean, do we all register what's happening here? Do I need to rewind that, or do we get it? Did we get it the first time?
saw him on the lawn, and I didn't.
I'm going to rewind.
Kerry.
She was frantic. I mean, she knew John was missing, so she was frantic about it, as I would be. And then we turned to pull down Fairview,
As
and
I would be.
she saw him on the lawn, and I didn't.
Kerry quickly joins Karen on the lawn. and the two women perform CPR on John until police arrive.
We went to go find him and make sure he got home okay. And when you find him and he's not okay, it was pretty hard.
Kerry and Johns were friends since childhood.
Oh, look.
So was Brendan Kane.
He was a diehard Celtics, Sox, Bruins, Pats fan. Name it, Boston sports. He was
Oh,
obsessed.
O'Keefe became a cop like his grandfather, staying close to his family,
probably
including his
wouldn't have
sister
been friends.
Kristen.
That's
When she
okay.
and her husband died within months of each other, John took his niece and nephew in as his own. Kerry was his right hand.
It was like all hands on deck when they would go to dance recitals and stuff, father-daughter dances. I would do their hair and get the boutonniere and get the corsage, and he did a great job. This was one of my best friends.
In the 3 years since Reed was arrested, the town of Canton has been transformed. Neighbors have taken sides. Witnesses have been harassed.
For the crime of?
Witnesses
Telling
have
the
been
truth.
harassed.
Answering the phone.
It's my friend. I'm not going to not help. It's all about which side are you on. We're John's closest friends and family, and we're still haven't been able to grieve because of all of this. It's all lost on this circus.
It's
Why
not
did
lost
John want
on
to
the
become a
circus.
cop?
Johnny believed in fairness. Johnny believed in justice.
Oh, interesting.
And he'd
That's
be appalled
interesting.
at where we are 3.5 years later.
Yeah, he would be. He'd be appalled at the fact that the two of you, people that he thought were very, very good friends, are treating the woman that he loved. Because this story about John wanting to leave Karen, they no doubt had problems. But if you watch the CF McCarthy footage very closely, that was them making up after a day of arguing. Okay. And if you listen carefully, go back, listen to the text messages. They start out, John is angry, John is frustrated. And what I'm learning about John is John was a moody person. So is Karen. I'm not saying that to be judgmental. John was a little bit moody. And if you know anything about mood, when people are in a negative mood, they see the world as negative. And it's very clear to me that in that early morning, during that early part of the day, they were arguing. John was in a bad mood. Then he takes a time out. And all of a sudden, he's angry with Karen because she wants to use a plumber that's not him or his dad. Right? He gets jealous. He starts talking about, oh, if the plumber is hot. And then when you see the way he greets her, he does everything in his power to make her feel safe. He holds out her arm. Everything he does in the CF McCarthy footage when they first come back together after a day of arguing is try to make Karen feel at ease. I don't think there's any question that John loved Karen. He probably needed her too. And yeah, did he probably use her a little bit? Probably. It was his girlfriend. She was living there. He never wanted her to go home. She's trying to say, I feel a little stupid. I feel like a loser. You know, after the way that you treated me this morning, I feel like a loser just running right back to you. And John's like, whatever, Karen, there's going to be a snowstorm. Like, forget it. You're staying here. You're not going anywhere. Just accept it. Let's move on. He loved her. And I think any indication to the contrary is nonsense. Do I think that the two of them maybe also were heading down a path of having a drinking problem? Probably. Honestly, as a person who specialized during the early part of my career in substance use disorders, everybody in this town seems like they may kind of fall into drinking problem territory. It's a town full of people who all come from South Boston with those Irish roots, including John O'Keefe. Is it possible that there were some tendencies towards substance abuse, towards problems with alcohol? You better believe it. Those genes, they can be quite powerful. But I promise you, Kerry, that nobody's forgotten John. If anybody's forgotten him in this case, I have to say, I feel like it's you. I feel like you are so blinded by freaking Jennifer McCabe. You can't see the truth. And it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. This isn't paranoia. There's no evidence that John was hit by a car. And you two, who are supposed to be his best friends, this is how you're treating him? By going on Good Morning America and making jerks out of yourselves? How do you think he'd feel about you guys buddying up to his murderers and treating the woman he loved this way.
Kerry Roberts is part of a group of witnesses whose testimony points to Karen knowing that she hit John O'Keefe with her car.
Yeah.
And one key difference that we picked up on this time, the defense still says that there was a botched investigation and a cover-up. But this time around, they're no longer hinting that there was some sort of big police conspiracy afoot. Now, it's unclear how long this trial will last. That first trial took 9 weeks. So buckle up, guys.
Could be a long time. Okay, Matt.
Okay, wait a
thank
minute,
you.
though. Can we go back? Can we hear this again?
Knowing that
Yes.
Kerry relayed to Brendan Kane, a longtime friend
Let's
of
hear it
John's,
again.
the contents of her call that morning with Karen Reed.
And Karen called Kerry. She was histrionic, screaming, John's dead, John's dead. I think you get hit by a plow. Kerry, John's dead. Is that right?
The first phone call was
Yeah.
John's dead. Then she hung up.
So that early morning, Kerry picked up Karen and another O'Keefe friend, Jennifer McCabe.
I knew of her. I had met her once, and that was it.
They drive
Yeah.
to the house where Karen
She's trying to distance herself there, neglects to mention that that's her BFF, that since this moment, yes, they didn't know each other very well then. Now they're, I don't even want to say it, the best of friends. Let's put it that way.
dropped John off. It's dark in a blinding blizzard.
It was so snowy, you couldn't see. And as we were driving, Karen would lean in between us, and she was frantic. I mean, she knew John was missing, so she was frantic about it, as I would be.
Okay, whoa. John was missing. Can we review this? John was missing. And so she was frantic, as I would be. Does that sound like somebody who knowingly killed John? Because I'll tell you what I hear from Kerry Roberts in that interview is very clearly that she does not believe Karen knew John was there. And Kerry also is very clear in her testimony, particularly in the last trial, that it was Jen McCabe who tells Karen that they had been at 34 Fairview because Karen thought that they had been at the waterfall, that she left him there. And she doesn't start saying she wants to go to 34 Fairview until she hears from Jen that they had been there. So again, to me, it feels a little confusing. Is the Commonwealth saying that she did this on purpose because she's this evil woman, or did she do this on accident? Is that what they're arguing? Because I can't decide. To me, it seems like they're making both arguments and just kind of hoping that one of them lands. Just dishonesty is what this is. It's just a sham. It's just totally dishonest. And the fact that these two, Brendan Kane and Kerry Roberts, they love to say that John is being lost in all this, but that is just not true. Nobody would be here screaming and yelling our faces off unless we wanted justice for John. You say that he was about fairness, but you refuse to look at the scientific evidence that suggests John wasn't hit by a car. Why not? Why won't you look at that, Brendan Kane? Because you want it to be cut and dry? Because you want it to be Karen? Because you don't want it to be Brian Albert? If you're being fair, don't you think you should give the evidence a fair shake? You want to be fair to your friend? Because I just don't believe that wherever John is looking down on us, that he's thinking, I'm so proud of my friend Brendan and my friend Kerry for how they are treating my girlfriend Karen. Good job, guys. That's it for me. We'll see you all in court.
God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.